It's been a long and arduous process, and I'd like to thank my friends and family for helping me through it, but the time has finally come. This is the biggest decision I've ever made, but I am confident that it is the right one. And so, for the next 30 minutes of my life, I've decided to commit to the University of Southern California.
Oh, I did not see that one coming. I was sitting on the edge of my seat that entire time. You know what, Ben, I really think you made the right decision. And for your first job, you're going to help me run the show because Sports Scene starts now. We welcome you live into the Annenberg Media Center. I'm Max Goldwasser.
And I'm Ben Albert, and it is National Signing Day in college football. And we have a very exciting show ahead for you in which we will cover all things USC football and get you up to speed on how the Trojans are stacking up so far today.
Yeah, we'll get you up to speed right away because there was some breaking news out in Hawkins High School. Five-star wide receiver Joseph Lewis and four-star athlete Greg Johnson just committed to USC. They're both out of Hawkins High School. We'll take you live there in a second to talk to Rachel Frame, but first, let's get you caught up on the rest of how today has been going for the Trojans.
Absolutely, Max. USC has been doing a great job filling the 23 scholarship spots they had available. In fact, they've been doing so well that they are over, and they've actually filled 25 scholarship spots.
They're doing too well, I guess.
Yeah, you could say that. It looks like a couple of the incoming freshmen most likely will blue shirt, but you can't really have too much of a good thing.
Yeah, it's definitely not the worst problem to have. USC has been ranked in the top 10 on most recruiting websites coming into today. They've already made a push within that top 10. They're sitting at about 6th or 7th best recruiting class in the nation right now, which is a great spot to be in for sure.
Absolutely, and the recruits that have come in today certainly help, but there's a number of recruits that have already enrolled in classes here on campus. Let's take a look at a list of some of those guys, and to me, headlining that group is quarterback Jack Sears out of San Clemente High School. That's a name you might know because another USC quarterback who's currently enrolled here hails from there. Sam Darnold. Yeah, there you go. Hope you knew that one, Max. But also on this list is, of note, defensive lineman Marlon Pulotu. He was a Washington decommit last week. He flipped to USC. That's a huge boost for this class.
A huge boost, especially because the Trojans lost some big names on that defensive line. A name that stands out to me is going to be that linebacker Taylor Katoa. He was a dual-threat quarterback in college, but he's most likely going to fill the void at middle linebacker with Michael Hutchings now gone when he comes to USC.
Sure, and there's plenty of guys that we may not see on campus this semester, but will be here most likely in the summer. There's a number of guys who have already committed to USC prior to today. And here's a short list of those guys. To me, headlining this group, although they're all great players, definitely is five-star running back Stephen Carr. He's been committed for over a year to USC, and he is a guy who could potentially come in and step right in and make an impact immediately on the field.
So we're going to take you live to Hawkins High School now. You know, Rachel is there, and she was there at the scene when the two made their commitments. Rachel, what was it like there at Hawkins High School when the two decided to go to USC?
All right, thanks, Max. As you know, it is an exciting day over here at Hawkins High School. Just moments ago, this gym was full of athletes, family, and plenty of reporters to come cover this signing day. As you guys have heard, Joe Lewis, Greg Johnson both just announced their commitment to USC. And Johnson mentioned in his speech that he and Lewis have been childhood friends, so they're very excited to spend the rest of their college career together. Johnson also mentioned that with Adoree Jackson heading out, he's excited to have the opportunity to hopefully fill the void that Jackson's going to leave. So now USC is up to 23 commits with Lewis and Johnson and a blue shirt freshman for the 2017 season. That's all I got down here from you guys from Hawkins High School. I'm Rachel Frame.
Thank you, Rachel. That was a very cool shot we just had from Hawkins High School. But now to take a more in-depth look at some of the individual signees for USC from today. Joining me is Sports Scene resident expert Josh Cohen. Josh, as always, thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me.
Josh, the first guy that jumps out to me on this list is 4- or 5-star offensive tackle Austin Jackson. He's a guy who is expected to come in and potentially make an impact early on, but it may take a year or two, but he definitely fills a void left by some of the leaving seniors from this year. How do you think he fits in with this team?
He could fit in right away. You look at him, not the biggest guy at 260 pounds, but he's eerily refined for a high school player. I mean, you're not looking at the biggest offensive tackle ever, but I think he's going to be incredibly effective, maybe sooner versus later. Has experience on the defensive line, and that shows. He punishes people with blocks, finishes blocks, steamrolls oppositions, and once again, I think it's the mentality of playing in the trenches on the opposite side that helps him be such a physical presence in there at offensive tackle.
Absolutely. And speaking of the trenches on the other side of the ball, a big defensive lineman recruit, Jay Tufele, committed to USC. He was rumored to be coming here for a while, and he confirmed it today. He is also a 4- or 5-star recruit out of Utah. He is a guy who also could come in and make a big impact at a position of need for USC.
No question about it. I looked at his recruiting list. It looked like all 128 FBS schools wanted this guy, and for good reason. He's a grown man, a mountain of a human being at nearly 300 pounds when he's going to be stepping on campus. That's right. So you talk about playing right away. Absolutely with him. Could fill that Stevie T role, just plug the middle, free up opportunities for some of the other players to make some big plays. But just because he's more of a, maybe not the most glamorous player, doesn't mean he's an ineffective player. Absolute beast in the middle. This guy's going to be one to keep an eye on.
Absolutely, and joining him on the defensive end, but at linebacker, is Levi Jones. Won't call it a surprise recruit, but this wasn't a guy that USC was necessarily expected to get from the onset today, but they got him. He's a big recruit, and with a senior like Michael Hutchings leaving, Levi Jones could come in and help bolster that depth there. Josh, what do you think about his ability to make an impact early?
I think he's going to make an impact early, and again, SC fans weren't so sure about him. He's going to Florida. Nope. He's going to Florida State. Nope. There we go. Going to SC. Real relief to land him, and again, with him, it's a matter of the little things. I think he makes an impact right away for USC because of his attention to detail. You talk about little QB read, zone action, that kind of thing. He's disciplined, patient, waits for it to develop, then explodes. I think this guy is precocious, and I think that's why he's going to get big minutes early on. Really, really impressed by watching him, and he's fun, as we saw by his commitment there.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for joining me,
Hey,
Josh.
you got it.
Can't wait to see how these guys make an impact starting next season for USC. But now for a more in-depth look, pun intended, at USC's current roster and prospects with the new signees, we send it over to Max and Alexa who have a look at the depth chart. Guys?
Thanks, Ben. It's really important that we got a hold of those players because they are clearly, Alexa, a lot of open spots to fill on this USC team. Replacing Juju at that wide receiver position on the offensive side of the ball is probably going to be the hardest thing to do. Michael Pittman Jr. is a name that comes to my mind in terms of replacing him. He's a true sophomore. He stands at 6'4". He would come in and be a huge target for Sam Darnold in the red zone, where USC ranked 8th in the Pac-12 last season. But then you look at the offensive line, lost players like Damian Mama, the biggest player in college football, and Zach Banner. What does it mean to this team when you lose players like that?
Yeah, well, I mean, these two spots on the offensive line, they have big shoes to fill, not only because those guys that left are great players, but also because they're large in size. So players like Chuma Edoga and Chris Brown could see some playing time at these spots as they were the backups to both Mama and Banner. But we're also seeing Toa Lobendon coming off of his ACL injury, and so he will get some playing time as well. Nico Fala took over for him at center, so we think tackle could be a great place for him.
What about the recruits who just came in? Who can take over them?
Yeah, there are a lot of great recruits. Andrew Voorhees, Brett Nealon, Elijah Vera Tucker, and Jalen McKenzie could all see some playing time on this line because there are open spots and people moving around to try and make sure the pieces fit where they may.
Yeah, lots of open spots because they did lose 4 starters on the offensive side of the ball. So with that, what do you think may be the weakest part of this offense next year?
Yeah, I mean, losing Juju was a big hit to this wide receiver position. While the guys in that position are very talented, they're also very inexperienced. So 5-star recruit Joseph Lewis can be a great addition to that spot, and he can really make a splash. But I think the biggest problem that's going to be coming with the offense is figuring out where everyone fits on this offensive line. But I think once we figure out where everyone should go, there won't be a lot of big holes, and it should run pretty smoothly.
Well, that would be nice because on the defensive side of the ball, they also lost 4 starters. It's going to be a nose tackle, linebacker, strong safety, and cornerback. We all know who that was. Adoree Jackson did a lot more than just play defense. How do you replace a player like him? Can you even replace a player like him?
Adoree Jackson is irreplaceable. I can hands down say you cannot replace a player like him. Offense, defense, special teams, there was no one like him. And the problem is going to be you're going to have to fill 3 spots that one player played. So now you need 3 guys to play and do what Adoree did. And so that's going to be really hard, and I can easily say that he was probably the biggest hit this team took at the end of the season.
What about the D-line? Stevie T was the anchor to that D-line, really helped in the run game. USC was great defending the run game last season, but he's gone. So who fills that position next season?
I think there are a lot of great defensive line recruits that can come in and take this spot, but we also have to remember former 5-star recruit Kenny Bigelow, who has fought through 2 ACL injuries and is currently coming off of his second one. So I think he could be a great fit for that. But there also is Marlon Tuipolotu, who recently broke Twitter, decommitting from Washington to commit to SC. So he could see some great playing time there as well, and that is going to be a very strong defensive line.
Last one for you, strong safety position. Leon McQuay did fill that position, but now it's probably going to be a toss-up between Chris Hawkins and now recruit 4-star safety Bubba Bolden.
Yes.
Who do you think, does Bubba Bolden come in and make some noise in that position right away?
I think he definitely has a shot to, and that's just going to be a great battle between Hawkins and Bubba. We'll see what happens.
Well, this USC team will definitely look and feel a lot different from last season. Something that is a little different also is we're going to play a little trivia game. Ben has it for us. Ben?
Absolutely. Thank you, Max. In the spirit of signing day, us here at Sports Scene thought that we're spending a lot of time looking forward at the prospects of USC's football team in the future, but it might be worthwhile to take a little look backward at some of the successes and key players that have come through the program over the past few years. So joining me normally as friends, but today as foe, once again, Josh Cohen makes an appearance. Josh, you're not sick of us yet?
No, not at all. I'm ready for this trivia.
And joining him is Aaron Siegel. How we doing, Slammer?
Doing well. Ready for trivia?
So here's how this will work, gentlemen. I have 5 questions, like 5 stars. I will ask each question, and each one of you will have an opportunity to answer, but it is a speed race, so the first person to raise their hand with the fight on symbol will be the person who gets an opportunity to answer first. If you get it wrong, the partner will have, or opponent, I should say, will have an opportunity to steal. Now, if you don't get if neither of you get it right, I will provide a hint so that hopefully one of you will get the right answer. You get a correct answer, you earn a star. Person with the most stars at the end of the game wins, of course, a pack of Starburst. Fellas,
Wonderful.
Wow.
sound good?
Along the
Sounds
line.
great.
Ready to play?
Yeah.
All right, let's get to it. Number 1, this wide receiver followed his Sarah High School teammate of,
Fight on. That would be Marquise Lee.
wow,
What?
that is impressive. That is a
I already
star.
have questions
Rob-
about the
Robert
rules of this
Siegel.
game. That was okay.
That was Robert.
Yeah,
Roberts.
that's fine.
That was
Oh,
impressive. Someone has done his research.
2 Sarah series.
Wow.
Yeah, that's
Siegel for the star.
That's 1.
1-0, 1-0. All right, question number 2. This All-American defensive end tied an NCAA record with 14 forced fumbles over his 3-year tenure at USC before his NFL career was cut short after just 4 seasons with my Minnesota Vikings due to an incredibly serious form of leukemia.
Whoa.
All you, man. No?
All right, let's move on to a hint. Although his playing career was cut short, he has found a new career or a new way to pursue his favorite sport with the game he loves, as he is now the defensive line coach here at USC.
It's a good hint, but
Oh,
Josh answers
easy.
this.
Yeah.
Yes, Udeze. Kanechi Udeze is correct, Josh. Close enough. We'll give you a star. It's 1-1. Number 3, this quarterback redshirted his freshman season in 2001, but was able to learn under the tutelage of his roommate, current NFL quarterback and USC Heisman winner Carson Palmer.
Matt Leinart.
Matt Leinart is incorrect. Josh, you have an opportunity to steal. If not, we'll move on to a hint.
Let me get that hint.
All right. Here's the hint. Although he lost out on the starting job at USC to Matt Leinart following Palmer's departure, he would go on to start many games in the NFL for the Kansas City Chiefs, Minnesota Vikings, and among others, he was franchise tagged by the New England Patriots.
So we got Matt Castle.
Matt Castle is correct. Josh is up 2-1.
That was one
Gotcha
thing.
a little bit
It
on
wasn't a
that.
fight on
That
there.
was a
Like
good
a
one.
ding.
Wasn't
that
a
was
fight
one
out. No
finger.
ding this
Okay.
time, but next time play by the rules, man.
Appreciate that.
All right, number 4, entering USC at a mere 190 pounds, this Trojan linebacker initially had to earn a scholarship as an unheralded.
Clay Matthews.
Clay Matthews is correct. That was a bit of a trick question, as he was a walk-on originally, but he did earn a scholarship and would go on to be obviously an NFL great. It's 2-2. Boys, this is for all the Starburst, all the marbles here. So, the tie-breaking question, number 5. This Trojan great graced the cover of the Madden video game franchise and beat out fellow long-haired Trojan alum Clay Matthews for the NFL AP Defensive Player of the Year in 2011. That's Siegel.
Troy Polamalu.
Troy Polamalu is correct. Aaron Siegel comes in and takes the cake.
Tropical Starburst.
And
I have no interest anyway.
Tropical
No
is
interest.
the theme of the day here at Sports Scene. So, Aaron, congratulations, my man.
Dreams come true. Wow.
Josh, I'm sorry. You're going to have to live with that one for the rest of your life. But anyway, we've had a lot of talk about football today, but believe it or not, there's still a lot of sports going on here at USC. So for a look at what is happening with the basketball team, let's shoot it back over to Max and Aaron, who are at the desk. Fellas?
Thanks, Ben. USC men's basketball is going to try to put together a five-star effort themselves when they take on the Washington Huskies tonight in Seattle. The Trojans are coming off their biggest win of the season, taking down crosstown rival UCLA. Shaquan Aaron came off the bench, scored a career-high 23 points on his way to receiving Pac-12 Player of the Week honors. They'll be facing a much different team, though, when they play Washington tonight. Much different from UCLA, that is, because Washington is second to last in the Pac-12 standings, winning just 2 games in league play, and they allow opponents to shoot over 40% from beyond the arc, which is the worst in the Pac-12. They do have a bright spot in Markelle Fultz, who could be a projected top 3 pick. He's had James Harden, D'Angelo Russell comparisons. USC's bright spot, Benny Boatwright, is a game-time decision. He's missed the last 15 games, so he might be back tonight. If he does come back, what does that mean for USC's chances heading into the Pac-12 tournament? Could they actually be serious contenders to win that whole thing?
Benny Boatwright is a dynamic player, and he adds really a lot on offense down low. They go to him a lot, and his absence has been sorely missed. You've seen the other guys play together, and recently against UCLA, of course, they've played well. But with Benny, it's just another dimension to the team. And it's a player like him that I believe, really can carry them to the Pac-12 tournament and maybe even somewhat into the NCAA.
So speaking of the NCAA, that is obviously the goal, is to get there in March and perform well. How well can USC perform? Can they make some noise in March? What is that going to be like?
Well, we've seen USC be kind of iffy in the fourth quarter so far in the last couple of weeks in their game. Sometimes they played really well, but sometimes it hasn't gone as well. In March, that is the most important quarter, that last quarter of the second half of a game here. And so deep into the second half, how is USC going to play? I think that's really going to affect how they do in March. They got to close out games a little bit stronger to get further in the tournament.
Well, obviously the first step on the road to success is getting past Washington tonight. Another team in action today is women's tennis. Juana Lopez is there live at Mark Stadium right now. Juana, the USC's women's tennis team is ranked 18th in the nation. They just lost their first match of the season. What do they need to rebound from that loss right now?
Well, right now, currently on court number 3. They are 3-0 right now, and they do have Gabby Smith, who actually was elected Pac-12 Player of the Week last week, and she's one to keep an eye on because she's on an 8-match winning streak. So let's see if she can keep the winning streak this time. The women are trying to make a comeback around after the tough loss that you just mentioned. They are going to come back here to Mark Stadium on Friday as they will take on the top-ranked Florida Gators. So, I mean, they'll really need Gabby Smith then. With Sports Scene, I'm Juana Lopez.
Thanks for that, Juana.
That was a great look at what's happening around USC tennis, and we would just like to say thank you for joining us today, but we have a little tidbit we'd like to leave you with, a little video that came out last week in the recruiting world. Let's roll the tape.
Hey, Owl Nation, this is Coach Kiffin. What an exciting time to come watch the Owls have a great year in a championship run, starting with you. Go Owls.
The enthusiasm is just sickening. I really think Alabama could have used all of that enthusiasm on the sidelines in the national championship this past season.
Max, you don't say. You know, I do know a thing or two about a time zone change, and let me tell you, it can take it out of you if you're not ready for it. But that's
Really took
okay.
it out of him.
Absolutely. He'll recover, though.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And on that note, that's going to be it for us. Check out USCAnnenbergMedia.com or throw us a follow on Twitter or like us on Facebook at Sports Scene USC. See you next week. Fight on.